And we are back in the building, Sky Squad. What is going on today, man? The news is just popping, and we got to go ahead and keep this news dropping, this commentary dropping. Phaedra Parks is in the news. She's talking Real Housewives of Atlanta because she's being asked about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's go ahead and start there. She has some interesting things to say about that and about Dubai. So this could be a cause to get excited. And we got to talk about Nene Leakes. She's back in the news. Oh, yes. Anytime Nene Leakes speaks, it is news. So we talk about it. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, join the texting community so I can send you a text message as soon as the new video drops. And of course, we have our sale continuing just because I felt like y'all, listen, we got to continue this thing with the CMOS capsules at 40% off with the code Laquan. And you know why if you saw last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's go ahead and do the doggone thing in honor of Phaedra Parks. And I'm going to tell you why in just 1 second. So Phaedra Parks was on the Wendy Williams show, the Wendy Williams show without Wendy Williams, the Wendy Williams show with Michael Rappaport, that is. And so today he said he wanted especially for Phaedra to be on the show. He specifically asked for her. She, of course, was there to promote her appearance on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which does start streaming on Peacock TV on June 23rd. We will get the first, I think, 2 to 3 episodes. So we are in for a treat come a few weeks. Okay. Now, she talks about, it's great that she was doing the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip because unlike Real Housewives of Atlanta, you only get to have to mess with these girls and film for 10 days and then you can go on with your life. It's not months of your life like when you're filming Real Housewives of Atlanta. She goes on to say that Dorinda is like her on steroids without the alcohol. And I'm like, I don't know if I can really see that. I mean, Dorinda does have this sort of almost Southern charm to her, wherein she does like to make things nice for guests and people and throw extravagant parties. And so maybe in that regard, I can see her being like Dorinda. She also says that Brandy Glanville is like the X-rated version of herself. And I mean, if you recall, Phaedra Parks was definitely the one who was, bringing in, Mr. Chocolate, the original Bolo, okay, way back when. So, I mean, there is that. So there is some precedence for some X-ratedness with that good Phaedra. She says that Taylor Armstrong from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was really fun. And interestingly, she said Tamara was like a stripper version of a Republican. A Republican gone stripper, gone OC housewifey. And I was thinking to myself, now, number one, I never knew Tamara's political affiliation, but thank you for that information, Phaedra. Um, not that it makes a difference regardless at this point. I mean, but it was just interesting to see that she had described her as such. I've always liked Tamara Judge as a housewife, and I think that the Housewives of OC is ruined without her. But that's a whole different story for a different day. Anyway, she says she does not keep up with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said it is so good not being on the show because it's a lot to be under the microscope and be watched constantly. She says, as you know, she is a professional woman with many careers. Okay. She says that she was pre-Housewives and her life remains the same with or without a television show. And that's not the same for everybody. Okay. So Phaedra Parks is letting it be known she don't got just jobs. She got careers, baby. Okay. She got careers and she was pre-Housewives. Okay. She was a known name before the Housewives. So Housewives ain't make or break her. Okay. So she says she is grateful because whether or not she is on the camera, she always gets to the bag. She added with a hair flip. Okay. Um, Speaking on Sheree, because Michael really wanted to touch on the last night's episode. So she says she speaks to Sheree all the time. And what's her opinion of Tyrone? Well, she says Sheree is a different kind of cookie. Okay. She's made more appearances on the Real Housewives of Atlanta than any other housewife. So she has some type of luck going for her. Okay. And I don't know if that was shade or not. It was hard to tell what was shade and what wasn't in this interview. But, I'm here for the ambiguity of it all with Phaedra anyway. Okay. Um, in many ways, there's a little bit of Drew that reminds me a little bit of Phaedra, but Phaedra feels like a more mature, and meticulous and professional and polished and well presented. Actually, never mind. They ain't the same. Okay, so anyway, um Phaedra says she's been out with Sheree and she's never actually seen Tyrone. But that doesn't mean anything. And I was thinking, of course you wouldn't see the man. He been in the thing, okay? He been in the place at camp, wherever they want to call it these days, okay? And now he's in the halfway house, or was in the halfway house at the time of the filming. So I don't know when you think you would have seen him, okay? But maybe he out and about, and maybe she talking about she ain't seen him lately, okay? Because that could be a whole nother situation. Where has he been lately? All right. What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. Y'all know I like to bust out a tune every now and again, just randomly. Okay, anyway, she stuttered and tap danced around that answer, okay? But of course, Michael had to ask about Kandi. Okay. So she says she's seeing Kandi out. Okay. She says Kandi is a great businesswoman. And it's been 6 years. And as you know, I'm yachting in Dubai. I'll leave the girls in Atlanta on the Titanic. And you don't believe me? Listen for yourself. Okay.
And so as you well know, I'm yachting in Dubai. So, I'll leave the girls in Atlanta on the Titanic.
And there you have it. Okay. She says she will leave the girls in Atlanta on the Titanic. For those of you guys who don't know the 3.5 hour long story of the Titanic, as per um the I forgot who produced it, but anyway, you will recall that the ship sank. Okay, at the end of the movie, um, leaving the lady, in the river on a piece of wood. Okay, so if by sinking ship, if that was what she's referring to the Atlanta Housewives franchise, is she referring to it as a sinking ship? I mean, that's what I'm getting, and that's what it's given. Okay, more shade from Phaedra. Okay, probably about them ratings. It'll be interesting to see what the ratings are this week for this week's episode, because not only was it, I feel like it was really, really good, but I know that there were other things that were on. Like people were saying that the game was on, so I don't know. Anyway, speaking of Dubai and yachting in Dubai, she says that she knows Caroline Brooks, who we will remember from the first episode of the Real Housewives of Dubai from last week. Okay, and she says that she has a company over there. She sells sea moss, powdered sea moss. Okay, and again, I implore you to go ahead and get your sea moss capsules because Phaedra know what's up with the sea moss. Get your capsules at 40% off. You don't need no powder. You can get it in a pill. Take it with you wherever you go. Okay. Use that code Laquan at checkout. And so, anyway, she sells the powdered sea moss. So she does business over there. And she also does, quote, an electronic sort of company over there as well. So she's over there quite a bit. And I couldn't help but wonder, what is an electronic sort of company? Are you in, or is it import, export, electronics? What is it? Are you making vehicles? Are you making Teslas or something? I mean, what are you making? What is the electronics sort of kind of thing of it all? I mean, why couldn't we know? Tell me. I want to know. Y'all know I like to know how these people make their money. But anyway, I digress. She said that when she found out that Caroline Brooks, who she knows, was going to be on the show, she called Andy and laughed and said, and Andy said, "Well, you got to do a scene with Caroline." And she told Andy, "I am on my way to the airport." And so he asked, "When are you going back to Dubai?" And she said, "In 2 weeks." And then he said, "And when you come back, you got to make it happen in terms of filming." And she said, "Sure." She also said this little tidbit
I'm
right
going
here.
to be purchasing a home there, so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you never know. You might be a Real Housewives of Dubai.
So she spilled the beans that she is actually purchasing a home there. Okay. So at that point, Michael says, "Well, who knows? You might be a Real Housewives of Dubai." And let me say this. Bravo, Peacock, NBC Universal are obviously interested in Phaedra. They have brought her back for Ultimate Girls Trip. Andy has stated that he would like to bring her back several times. And they have featured her on the Real Housewives of Dubai and in the trailer for Dubai. Now, with Phaedra hinting that she's going to be purchasing a home there, it leaves the door open for speculation and sends a message to the network that she is potentially going to be there and spending much more time there in the near future. With that being said, that could also be a perfect inroads for her for season 2 of Dubai, which I would not mind at all. Because I think to add in the mix of Phaedra with those ladies, I think would be spectacular television. And I think it would also further ensure Dubai's long run in terms of the housewives, because there are a lot of people who are interested in Phaedra. So to me, if at the very least, we probably would get more appearances from Phaedra in the Housewives landscape on Dubai, potentially, and maybe even a friend to the show, and then maybe even who knows what the future could hold, a full-time position, potentially. But we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But the opportunity and the idea is at least there, and it's exciting to think about, right? Especially if you are a fan of Phaedra's. Now, she was asked about Nene Leakes and whether or not, she thinks that Nene Leakes was a husband stealer, and, whether or not, she would represent Nene Leakes in this case that this lady is bringing about for suing with the woman that is suing Nene in North Carolina for alienation of affection, because she is claiming that Nene Leakes allegedly stole her man. Okay. So, of course, Phaedra is like, I'm staying far away from that. I am praying for Nene. I talk to Nene. I speak to Nene. And that's that. Okay? That's that. Don't ask me no more questions. But speaking of Nene Leakes, and I meant to mention this earlier today, but since we already talking about her now in this video, I feel like I should go ahead and tell y'all that Nene Leakes has spoken yet again, okay? And if you want to know what she has said, here it is. She says, isn't it amazing how one network person can have an issue with you and have every network not work with you? Let's talk about it. Hashtag discrimination, hashtag retaliation, hashtag blacklisted, hashtag blackball, hashtag not fair, hashtag do you see this? Then she went on to say receipts. Okay. So clearly something is going on in the land of Nene Leakes, and she's got receipts on something that's happening. Clearly it is something that she feels like, a person who is at one network is making it such that other networks have an issue with you and not want to work with you as well. Let's talk about it. Yes, let's talk about it, Nene. I need you to talk about it. I want to hear you talk about it in detail and at length, okay? We've seen and heard about the court docs, but let's actually hear you talk about it in conversation on your own platform or whoever's platform you choose. I need the information and I need it today, okay? But that's just me doing my wishful thinking as usual, y'all. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about what Phaedra is saying about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Why is she going so hard at them? Is it warranted? Let me know in the chat. And let me know what's happening with Nene Leakes. What are your thoughts about it? Or is this just another case of Nene Leakes speaking out as she always does, rather cryptically, but that's her prerogative. Okay? To be honest, it is. And so with that being said, y'all, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button. And of course, be sure to join the texting community and hop on down to amirin.com and get your CMOS capsules and everything else in our store for 40% off. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.